Okay, they have a task for the morning to pick up from the Quartier Marchand some supplies and then take them to the workers' quarters, all before responding to the invitation, which he handed to Ben.
To the esteemed and honorable adventurers of the Portalucine Academy, writers of wrongs, avengers of evil, purloiners of treasure, etc. The worthy and magnanimous Baron Byron Eversong, master of Neverwhere Manor, benefactor of Horace, lord of lute and lyre, etc. Greetings! In praise and honor of your distinguished and valorous service, I request the honor of your presence at my banquet this noon, at my manor house. Please arrive at the stroke of noon, and bring hearty appetites, temper for songs and stories, and begs to bear away gifts. My resources are at your disposal, awaiting your arrival, Baron Eversong.
Am I the only one who doesn't trust this at all?
Get much of a choice, do we?
Yeah, my question is, what do you trust? You said you don't trust any of us, and you say you don't trust this guy, so...
I don't know, I come from the forest, like you live in all these stone buildings and all this metal on you, and then we communicate papers instead of just telling whatever you need to be said. It's also weird to me.
It's just culture shock.
I take my wolf close to me and start cuddling my wolf a bit.
Ashtor, it's just culture shock.
I agree with the druid.
You have to trust us. It is life. It is all about taking the risk.
Well, let me then put it like this. I trust you guys a little more than this guy who's gonna give us stuff.
Alright, so let's make an agreement right now. We will all do what we can to protect each other's backs.
Fair enough.
Deal.
That sounds lovely.
I'm gonna need some guides in this land.
I'll learn that. I've been learning a lot since I've been traveling. Knowledge is one of the things that I study as a priest. Cleric.
Wonderful. So you speak many languages?
Not many. I speak Abyssal and Celestial, but...
Well, at least you don't smell of arcane magic. Or stink, I should say.
You have a problem with arcane magic?
Yes, it's unnatural. It's not right.
Oh, well, you may have come to the wrong city.
I was sent here by the elder shamans to investigate this great unnatural rift.
See. Well, you may have to open your mind a little, or this place you will find very unfriendly.
I have my perspective, you have yours. Together we will see what this place has to show us.
Sure, just do not cast the spells they call Detect Magic. You will be fine.
And why is that, if I may ask?
You do not wish to know of arcane magic. This is a city filled with it.
Oh, I smell it, trust me.
Right, well, let us stick to the task at hand, and stick to the agreement that we will all watch each other's back, and I think everything will come out just fine.
Oh, don't worry, it's not like I'll attack you or anything.
What reason to attack me?
Okay, out into the streets. Elliot has gone through pains to get the wolf into the academy and smuggled it into the city. It cannot walk around on the city streets.
Then I leave it in the garden of the academy to sniff around, lazy in the sun.
Okay, so the party will begin wandering the streets as a group as we travel to merchant quarters.
Yes, I will take you there. Please, stay close, and I will point out some very interesting spectacle.
It is a dizzying array of activity going on the streets, and quite a bit of activity, quite a bit of hustle and bustle. So you do have to stay close and move fast. The street guards have rifles. There's gun shops that you're passing through the streets. There's tons of shops of all kinds, so if there's anything that needs to be shopped for, it can be found in the merchants' quarters of Portalucine. Occasionally, Manuel has to stop and think for a moment. He does have to wind through alleys and twisted streets. a labyrinth of a city. And you're not sure if you lost Emmanuel at this point, if anybody would make it back to the Academy.
Just remember, where the Academy is with relation to the port, right? Find the port, then you can find the Academy. You get lost.
That's a good tip. Find the water. Also, I'm constantly asking stupid questions about every animal I see. Like stray dogs and horses pulling carts and chickens in baskets and stuff like that.
So you pick up some surplus hospital bedding and bandaging, some other medical supplies. You take them to hospices of Hala in the workers' quarters. Anything in particular that you want to point out in the merchants' quarters before moving on to the workers' quarters?
Mandu, the Portalucian has the finest craftsmen of black powder weaponry. I advise you to purchase this here.
This black powder weaponry.
Oh, well, if you have not seen, I hope to arrange a demonstration, but I am not an expert myself, so I cannot say.
We don't have money last I checked, or at least I don't. We have a time hack to meet. Let's go drop off these goods and get paid.
Right, maybe tomorrow we do this. On the holidays, they do a demonstration. It is superb. Flowers that blossom in the sky with flame. Amazing. You must see it.
Sven, after hearing that little bit of poetry, starts writing it down. That's good.
The bustle of the city changes and the atmosphere changes as you move from the merchants' quarters into the workers' quarters. There's a lot of more people just hanging around. There's a lot less commercial traffic. It's a lot more run down, so much so that it looks like some buildings can barely stand and won't stand for much longer. You definitely feel a little more for your safety in this part of town.
And this is where I live, so it's normal.
Hey Manuel, how big is this tribe you call city? I see a lot of people.
It's very big with a population hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, wow.
So draft, I think the population is down slightly. There's a war with Balkovnia, and many people have been put into the army to fight. I hope we will not join them.
You make it to the hospice. It's a small building, run down, run by old ladies in nun outfits. They gratefully receive the items, offer blessings from Hala.
So at this point, do we have everything when we drop off?
Yep, that's completed.
And shall we go? Since I seem to recall we have to get this done by noon.
We want to show up about 10 minutes after noon. Be fashionably late.
I think this is a bad idea. I think on time is better. Perhaps we may not be admitted to be late.
In order to get to the courtier savant, the noble quarters, you're going to need paperwork. So you have to go back to the academy to pick that up. So you'll have some time back at the academy to freshen up a bit. And they had suggested that some of you put on banquet attire. You don't have to, but they made it available.
Well, when in Rome,
I don't. I wear the...
am I gonna have to take off my armor?
You don't have to take off your armor, but a lot of you are standing out in the city as you walk around. Heavy weaponry, heavy defenses.
Do I have to leave behind my spear?
Monsieur Fenn. Monsieur Fenn.
Oh, yes.
Would it be possible on such short notice for you to come up with the pretext for us to wear this equipment? Perhaps we are performers in some play of yours?
I'm sure I can do something like that.
Do we have assigned rooms in the academy?
You have shared spaces, foot lockers.
Well, then I can just drop my equipment off at the Foot Locker.
I think better to bring it with us. If we can be performers, yes, you make a perfect character
Yeah.
for a play.
Yes, no, you fit well.
Perfect. Just stunning as you are. No change needed.
Put on a helmet. Perfect.
Perhaps if I move my wolf cloak a little bit and show my non-magical move that,
Yes.
Beautiful.
and then you can present us as guests for his parents' entertainment. Guests from faraway lands with stories to tell.
And now you understand. Perfect.
Lay on the tribal accent a bit heavy.
So you get back to the academy, get the necessary paperwork, temporary day passes to get into Quartier Savant. Manuel, maybe you've dropped some things off. So you've been, but you're not as familiar with that part of town. Luckily, you can pass through the promenade that walks along the bay, lined by a tall wall. The hill skewed out to the west, and then the sheer cliff going higher up to these higher up streets. You could get down into the Quartier Savant section of town quickly. On the back of the scroll, it has the mansion's address. Follow a manual to that location, and then you stand on a cobblestone road, peer through an iron gate toward a towering blue-gray mansion. The black ironwork, fence, and gate contain myriad dryad-like figures that gaze out toward the street with wide, pupilless eyes. The brick path leads through the front gate and ambles past looming willows to a pair of red doors and a great arching entrance. As you stand and stare, one of the doors cracks open and a man steps onto the porch. He raises a bejeweled hand to remove his hat and then waves towards you. Greetings! You must be the adventurers that fill our town with gossip of late. And I see by the sun that you are precisely on time. Come inside, the banquet awaits.
But of course.
I'd like to thank our most generous host for inviting us.
I'm gonna follow the native's lead and I'm gonna bow.
He bows to each of you as you approach the porch.
I see everybody bowing, so I also just act like everybody else does.
As I whisper to the druid, these people are pansies.
And I will in a chuckle.
You guys start to shuffle in. Make a listen check. Aster and Not, you guys can hear dulcet sounds of music coming from inside. It sounds like an instrument you're unfamiliar with, but it's playing this tune that it's reminiscent, nostalgic to you. You can't really place where it comes from, but it has almost a sullen quality to it. So the Baron ushers you into a stately foyer paneled with rich mahogany, panels that rise up to a sculpted ceiling. At the end of the hall, there's a broad stairway and a rich crimson carpet that ascends majestically up to the next floor. Along one wall of the foyer is a long mirror in a golden frame. Opposite that is a line of benches and hooks and a cane stand. And the Baron pauses a moment there, inviting you to unburden yourselves of your cloaks and capes and larger weapons, spears. But then he leads through a pair of tall double doors into an elegant banquet hall. There's tall windows spilling sunlight onto a thick scarlet carpet. The room's center stands a huge table draped in ivory cloth and set with silver vessels bearing steamed food. The scent of pheasant and venison rise unmistakably to your noses as the Baron motions for you to move towards the table. There's a sideboard laden with elaborate cakes and torts. The Baron gestures for you all to find seats and to dig in.
Are there any dogs around?
There are no dogs. There's nobody else here, actually.
Seems eerie.
Nobody here to serve the banquet.
I go for the nearest piece of meat, take a piece of it, give it a sniff, and start digging in.
Smells wonderful. And you're hungry from walking around all day.
I go over, get a plate, and put the food that I'm going to be having on it, grab whatever I'm going to be drinking, and I cast Purify Food and Drink on it before I dig in.
I see Not take a plate, and I stop eating my meat, and I take a plate, and I put my meat on the plate, and I look around.
But the Baron waits for everybody to be seated before seating himself. He directs you to pass various dishes, and he fills up his own plate. You say your prayer over your meal. You're not really sure what happens. It's a bit of an ashy substance falls from your hands onto your food as you're finishing your spell.
No ashy stuff was supposed to come out of my hand, so that was confusing.
A grab of meat in my mouth, I look over to Not, and I'm like, well, was that supposed to happen?
No, that was supposed to just be a blessing for the meal. I don't know why there's ash on the food.
Daniel, what are you doing?
Filling a plate, of course. The Baron is with us, right?
Yes, yeah, he's seated at the table.
Okay, so I would like to, while I'm casually prodding my food with my fork, ask the Baron, So you have interest in the Adventuring Academy? Tell us what it is we can do for you.
Yes, indeed, I have such an interest, such a need for stories, for tales, for adventure. I would love to become well acquainted with the Academy and hear all about everything that goes on. I take inspiration from these adventures.
Unfortunately, we are but apprentices at the Academy and have not had much time there. This is, I must admit, our first mission. I'm sorry. My friend Fen Dracor here is well known for his tales of fiction and truth.
The Baron looks very pleased, clasps his hands together, and rocks back and forth with a big smile on his face. Oh, I'm very pleased to be in the presence of another bard. We can magnify our tales, fitting story after story.
Sounds like a most wonderful proposition. Finn will 100% tell a great tale of Evan and his courage in moving the undead hordes. A lone bard.
Feeling somewhere out there he's listening.
I'm scoffing down soft bread, since commoners can't get it very often. And in steak, I'm wolfing it down like an animal, making a complete fool of myself, because I have absolutely no etiquette. And drinking like I'm at any kind of pub.
Nice. The Baron looks around and he notices the lack of etiquette here at the table. Not just glass, but several of you. But he still looks pleased at the size of your appetite.
I'm using the right forks and I'm just eating and enjoying myself.
I'm sure everyone's praying that the Baron doesn't ask me a question while I have food in my mouth.
Is the Baron eating the food?
He is. Yep. He's making conversation, but politely waiting when you do have your mouth stuffed, understandingly.
I grab glasses, a cup of meat, I smell it. And in the fall, we go pick the mushrooms, the ones for the shamanistic rituals. But in order to keep the mushrooms good, we store them in honey. And we ferment the honey into mead. And we drink the mead in the summer. And we go on to the spirit walks. But it's not the right time now to go on a spirit walk. That would not be appropriate. I grab myself a cup of mead and chow down on some more meat.
The Baron seems pleasant enough. He's very interested in all the things the Academy has planned and everything he can get Fen to share. After the meal, the Baron asks the party back to his study to hear his latest song. The Baron leads the way. You guys find yourself in a parlor that's every bit as lavish as the dining hall, but a bit more cozy and welcoming. There's black marble floors, almost entirely covered with thick tapestries. Around on these carpets stand comfortable-looking chairs and little tables. All of this made with ornately carved mahogany, draped with intricately embroidered fabrics. A large globe of brass stands in one corner, dominating part of the room. At one end of the chamber, there's a tall bank of glazed windows that look out over Port Lucine. There are two fireplaces that occupy adjacent walls with ivory statuary array across the marble mantels. The rest of the walls are covered with bookcases that rise fully 8 feet up above the floor. Numerous gold-gilded, gold-bound volumes on the shelves. Elaborate embossing and relief sprout out of the wall to meet the ceiling, and the candle chandelier hangs in the room's center. In the corner beside the bank of windows stands an elegant white harpsichord. The Baron goes over and sits on a bench there and motions for you all to pull up seats. Once all of you are seated, he begins to play and sing. Once lived a bard with a beautiful voice and a harpsichord sweet as the sunrise. He played it all day, singing songs of his choice, telling tales to the fools and the wise. The plectrum of harmonies of the instrument die away, though the song is obviously unfinished. After a moment, the Baron rises and paces pensively about the room. so enjoy your company, and I am glad you have stayed this long. I do hope our pleasant friendship can continue. He again looks out towards the window, draws the drapes shut. Now do make yourselves comfortable and avail yourselves to whatever you will in this room. As you have come to know, I'm a very moral man, and I will not let evil things stand in this room. Any other activities you wish for the time that you're here, please make yourself at home. And with that, he goes back to his harpsichord and plays at the keys, somewhat absent-mindedly, muttering to himself.